5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is the Culture Clash.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome, everybody. It is Friday night, January 10th, 2025, and this is Culture Clash Live here on the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. We are here for our 269th episode, and we are all about our continuing coverage of Star Wars Skeleton Crew this week. We are covering episode 7, and this is kind of what we do every week around here. We're going to be in so much trouble. And you know what? I need a Skeleton Crew to join me to talk about Star Wars Skeleton Crew. And I can't think of anybody better to help me do that than the co-host of Culture Clash and the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network. It's Friday. I can't talk. Kevin, you doing good? You doing good? I mean, in all seriousness, I've had a lot of people ask me if you're okay because you are in Santa Barbara, California. Obviously with the fires and everything. I told them you're good. You're a bit north of that, correct?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of people from around the world checking on me. For those of you that don't know, as of the recording, there's some really bad fires in the LA area. I live about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of some of these fires, and luckily we've been safe and spared. But I've had a lot of friends and a family member as well be affected by this. Of having to relocate and evacuate, and it's been really, really bad. So, just big support goes to the firefighters and the first responders out there. They are doing a hell of a work down there.
Yeah, and to all of our wonderful listeners that are in that area, stay safe. We love you guys. Hopefully we can give you a little break and a lot of things going on. But speaking of crazy things going on, I'm going to bring in our other co-host here because she had a snow day in Atlanta, Georgia today. And it has the one and only queen of movie food. She is Captain Otterpants.
Hello. Oh my goodness. It's so cold. It was 28 degrees when I woke up this morning. My cats were at the windows looking out like, what is all this happening? It was great. Yes, the fires are crazy. I've been watching news all night. I used to live in LA, so I've got a bunch of friends that I've been checking in on, and everyone that I know has gotten to safety, but several people that I know have been dealing with, just hoping that their house gets spared because it's right in the path. So, lots of crazy stuff. Yeah, polar ice caps on one side and, flames and
yeah. I want to know, Lacey, is have you went outside and made a snowball yet?
No, I took a bunch of bread and made it into breadcrumbs and put it out in the front yard in case I had any birds or wildlife that needed a snack while the ground was too hard to get into it. But that was as much as I did. I did make it to my mailbox to pick up a couple of packages out of my mailbox, but yeah, I didn't want to spoil the front yard, so I actually even turned around and used my same footsteps to get back to the house. I'm a weirdo, and that's just
done. I've done that before.
Right?
That's how you roll in the snow. And
it was cool because I got to see there were deer prints in the snow, there were rabbit prints, and what I'm assuming was fox prints, potentially like coyote, but it was a little bit shorter gait.
So, basically, that's what Tusken Raiders do. They travel in single file to hide their numbers. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of those crazy sets of prints, I doubt it, but it's a good chance it was a set of cat prints. And I don't mean kitty cat. I mean Cat Cedar, who is joining us as a special guest tonight for Culture Clash.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be in Arizona where there's no fire and no snow and no heat, no cold. It's just a nice t-shirt and shorts day, like regular weather.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
Kevin.
it's nice to have you on a non-Deadpool related podcast here on the Fandom Podcast.
Wait. We're not talking about Deadpool? I thought we were talking about Deadpool on this one.
No,
Skeleton Crew, Deadpool.
He's like, I'm out.
Out. No Moon Knight. No Moon Knight either, Cat. Sorry.
Oh, man.
But we can tease. We will be recording the Couch Potato Theater Deadpool and Wolverine, the instant potato, as we're doing it. So, yeah. Soon.
I'm excited for that.
Well, we got a lot to talk about here tonight because not only are we talking about Skeleton Crew, but we got a lot happening in fandom news. We got some fun reviews. And of course, you are watching Culture Clash on the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel, or if you're listening on one of our audio feeds, we appreciate it to the podcast version. We like to have a lot of fun here at the Fandom Podcast Network, and we're going to have some stuff coming up that is going to exemplify that. But for tonight, it's all about Culture Clash, and it's all about the Skeleton Crew. And as we hit the penultimate episode, actually, of Skeleton Crew, episode 7, we only got one left after this. So,
penultimate. Let's say penultimate.
Yeah, you say it 3 times fast. So, guys, before we go any farther, not only are we going to be talking deep dive into Skeleton Crew, we are going to be talking about some things with Buy It, Stream It, or Unsee It with our reviews. So, guys, spoiler alert. That's right. So you've been warned.
I wanted to push the button.
I'll let you do it next time.
All right.
If you're extra good, I'll let you push the phaser button for the next Meme Federation podcast.
We don't have one of those. We need one of those. We need a phaser button. That's what we need.
Haley keeps taking it.
I know, right? Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so spoiler alert, we are going to be diving deep into Skeleton Crew and several things. It's by Stream It or Unsee It. So if you haven't watched the episode of Skeleton Crew, go watch it now. Come back, join us. We're going to have a lot of fun here. And if you have watched it, please comment in the chat as we go along. We always love to have you guys participating in the show. Of course, too, if you need a little bit more Skeleton Crew in your life on the Fandom Podcast Network, later on, we will have our good friends over at What a Piece of Junk weigh in on their thoughts on episode 7 of Skeleton Crew as well. And, of course, you'll be able to find that on the YouTube channel or on any of our podcast feeds. Of course, too, a little bit later in the show, we're going to have a little Let's News and a little Buy It, Stream It, or Unsee It. Tell you about the things we've seen recently. But first and foremost, it's what's coming soon and what's just arrived here at the Fandom Podcast Network, and it's always a plethora of stuff around here. I'm using my big words tonight. Obviously, it's Culture Clash here with covering out all things Skeleton Crew. And, of course, Union Federation Podcast. We just wrapped up our coverage of the final season of Lower Decks, and, of course, now the Steelbook collection is out with all the seasons in it. If you have
coming out, it's coming out. March.
Coming out. Yeah, coming out. If you have not jumped on Lower Decks, I am telling you, definitely jump on Lower Decks. I think it's one of the most fun Star Trek things that has been done in years.
A lot of fun.
Of course, too, Union Federation Podcast is also going to be jumping back into the Orville in a little bit this year with some episode crew profiles. And Kevin, I know you've been working hard on that special project. You are our special missions master over there at the Union Federation.
Yeah, we wanted to celebrate the Orville again this year, and we're going to have a limited 10-episode series talking about the main cast and characters, highlighting each episode is going to highlight that character, and we're going to talk about a couple of their episodes that Amy and I have picked that highlights those characters. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun discussing Orville again. Looking forward to that.
And don't worry, Trek fans, we also are going to be covering Section 31 when it comes out on Paramount Plus in just a couple of weeks. Got to get our Michelle Yeoh love it.
Yeah,
of course, too, down in the great land down under the Lethal Mullet, Adam O'Brien is continuing to plug away with the Lethal Mullet podcast. He recently put out his latest episode, Tour of Duty, and he is working on a special project over there with classic Battlestar Galactica. And Kevin, the big question for you is, do you want a motorbike from Galactica 1980, or do you want one of the Vipers?
Damn. Can I have both?
No, it's one.
Can I carry the motorcycle on the Viper, like in the back or something, like on a rack?
Not enough room with all those engines. You know, when you hit the thrust, the motorcycle's toast. And we only have so much room in the budget around here.
I'll take the Viper. Damn it.
Okay.
I'll take one too.
That's the right choice. Wait, what's that, Kat?
I want a Viper too.
I would go for the Viper. Yeah.
Such a classic looking starship. It's so.
I remember drawing those as a kid and you know, class.
What's gonna happen is I'm gonna get this confused with G.I. Joe Vipers, and you guys are all gonna get an interesting knock on your door here shortly. Time Warp. We just wrapped up our prior year, which we covered December 1984, and we covered the whole year of 1984 in Time Warp. But in December 1984, we had some classics like Beverly Hills Cop, Starman, Runaway, Dune, Johnny Dangerously, which we also have as a great couch potato theater. But we are in a new year, which means it's time to cover a new year in Time Warp. And we are jumping from the 80s and we are hitting 1990, the movies of 1990. And we're starting with the great films of January, which includes, which Kevin, you were just holding up, Tremors. And Kevin, we are going to repush a special thing we did with Tremors as well.
Yeah, back in 2020, during, of course, the COVID years there, we did a wonderful audio podcast just before we went like full video on the network with author Jonathan Melville, who wrote a book about Tremors. And we talked about Tremors, one of his favorite films, and he interviewed most of the cast of that for that book, including Kevin Bacon himself. So we're going to re-release that on the anniversary of this month of January of 1990 when it came out.
Yeah, it was a fun podcast, and if you're a fan of Tremors, it is so worth to listen to. A couple other great films in 1990, including Internal Affairs and Kevin's favorite, Bride of Reanimator. But we have been having a lot of fun too at Couch Potato Theaters. We've been covering the James Cameron gambit because James Cameron had a bunch of movies come out in 4K last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if a couple more didn't pop out. But we started things off with The Terminator. That was a lot of fun. And then Kevin suited up because it was the 10-year anniversary of John Wick. And I have a question for you, Kevin. When you suit up for the ballerina, are you going to be wearing a tutu? I don't even get a response. Wow, this is a tough crowd tonight.
No. Please tell me that you have like the top half of your suit, like the suit jacket, over like the big puffy pants.
You mean like an Ace Ventura?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But with like so like upper hat, like so party on the bottom and business on the top.
Sure.
I mean, if they can make a Kevlar bulletproof suit, I mean, what can they do with a Kevlar tutu? I'm just saying. But guys, we continued our Cameron coverage. We had a lot of fun with this one. It was our look at Aliens, but not only Aliens, but Aliens Expanded, a 4 or 6 hour documentary, depending on if you're Lacey or not. That is all about the making of Aliens. And Kevin, we had a lot of fun with this, and I know this was a special one for you because your wife Erin joined us for this, who we know is probably the biggest Aliens fan here on Fandom Podcast.
Yeah, we got married on Alien Day, April 26th in Las Vegas, LV426, and it was great. This was one of those podcasts we've been meaning to do for a long time. And once the Aliens Expanded documentary came out, that was fan funded, that both Lacey and I helped fund and get our names on the credit. It was definitely time to do it.
Absolutely. And of course, too, Couch Potato continued. We did Johnny Dangerously, kind of tying in with our Time Warp 1984, a great Michael Keaton classic. And we had a little Christmas fun with a suggestion from Lacey as well, The Long Kiss Goodnight. And I mean, really, who doesn't need Samuel Jackson under their Christmas tree? And one of his better performances as well. And it continues with our Cameron coverage because we just late last night put out The Abyss, continuing the Cameron coverage. The Abyss came out in 4K. We were joined by the wonderful Dan Hadley, who is the host of our Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. It was myself, Kevin, and Lacey, and we went deep in the dive of covering everything that is The Abyss. And then finally, we mentioned it earlier, it is something new for Couch Potato Theater. It is an instant mash Couch Potato.
It's not an instant mash, an instant potato. Instant potato. Because a mash is like a remash, like we've already done it. It's an instant potato.
Hey, I have some dental work going on. I'm eating softer things right now, so instant mash sounds a little better. But yes, the instant potato of Deadpool and Wolverine. And rumor has it there's a guy on this podcast who thought this was that podcast. He's confused. That's okay. We love him anyway. Pat, you will be joining us for that podcast. And Lacey?
Well, when you have instant potatoes, they are by definition mashed. So it is instant mashed potatoes. You're both right. You're both just missing a word.
But what sounds better?
Instant mashed potato.
If you were to say instant mash or instant potato, what sounds better? Answer my question. What sounds better? What sounds better?
Deadpool.
Instant mash or instant potato?
Deadpool.
No. Kat, the correct answer is chimichanga. Instant chimichanga.
No, that's actually not correct. That's his favorite word to say. That's not his favorite food.
Yeah. Well, we will get to that when we do Deadpool and Wolverine, the instant potato or instant mashed potato or instant whatever we're going to call it. We are doing something very fun with our Couch Potato Theaters in this year as well, because we have been enjoying a lot of canon films. Yeah, we are big fans of the canon films here at the Fandom Podcast Network. And Kevin and I kind of baked up a little potato. It's called the Canon Films Retrospective. We're going to be taking some of the main highlights of Canon films, including American Ninja, Invasion USA, Bloodsport, Sly Stallone's Cobra, Firewalker, and Masters of the Universe, and giving a little tribute to Canon films. And we were going to do a few other interesting things with that, but we're not going to give all our secrets away right now. But it's going to be a lot of fun to go back and visit the Canon universe. And you have a nice Canon shirt, by the way, Kevin, I must say.
Yes. And the first one we'll be covering is we're actually going to have a little double feature. We're going to be doing American Ninja and American Ninja 2 as the first episode.
So many ninjas. Who ordered all the ninjas?
Is that a cut classic?
Now, before, what's that, Ken?
Is that a cut classic?
It's a Shirkin classic.
Shirkin. Not a cut
I did
classic.
want to mention, by the way, Kyle, I was curious and I looked up on the Fandom Podcast Network most viewed videos for our podcast. And you know what snuck up into the top 10, Kyle? Over 1,000 views is Rad, the
Nice.
the BMX podcast that we did,
Movie?
and the movie that we watched in Lacey's house there.
Yeah.
Yes. It's all about that amazing 80s soundtrack that movie has.
Yeah, it's getting some tread.
It's all about the 80s soundtrack and the bike ballet. The
bicycle boogie. A little bicycle bully.
I was thinking
with Lori
bicycle
Loughlin.
breakdancing personally.
There you go.
Lori Loughlin,
guys.
there you go.
Yeah, that is what is happening around the Fandom Podcast Network, but it's time to get into some of the heart of things around here. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Let's news.
okay, guys, we got a little bit of news here. And Kevin, I'm actually going to hand you the controls here a little bit because you kind of dove into our top news story involving Star Wars and involving somebody who has a long-time relationship with Star Wars, but it's been a bumpy road for him. There's been some recent news on Jake Lloyd.
Yeah, I actually want to give credit to Lacey for bringing this to our attention. I had heard rumors about this that Jake Lloyd, who, for those of you that don't know, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and which explains some of his behavior at some conventions and his antisocial issues and stuff like that. And there's an article here by Ashley Hume at Fox News that dropped in January 5th of this year. It says Star Wars child actor Jake Lloyd shares health update amid schizophrenic diagnosis. Lloyd, who played young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, recently completed an 18-month stay in an inpatient mental health facility. Former child star Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker, shared his positive mental health update after being diagnosed with schizophrenia. During an interview with Star Wars Timeline's co-author Clayton Sandell, Lloyd, now 35, and his mother Lisa Lloyd, discussed his progress after he recently completed an 18-month stay at an inpatient mental health facility in Southern California. While speaking with Sandell previously for an article in Scripps News, Lisa shared that Lloyd entered treatment after experiencing a full-blown psychotic break, during which he turned his car off of a 3-lane road back in March of 2023. According to Sandell, Lloyd is currently living in a new rehabilitation center where he is continuing to receive treatment, but has the freedom to come and go at will. During their conversation, Lloyd told Sandell that he was feeling pretty good. I can now accept taking on continued treatment and therapy and my meds, he said. Everyone's been very supportive. Lloyd also said his experiences with fans are immediately therapeutic. In addition to schizophrenia, Lisa previously told Sandell that Lloyd also had a neurological condition known as anosognosia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, so forgive me. Exactly. Which, according to the National Institute of Health, is a neurological condition in which the patient is unaware of their neurological deficit or psychiatric condition. Lisa said Lloyd's condition stopped him from wanting to take medication because he didn't believe he was sick. While speaking with Sandell, Lloyd described his medication as very much a cushion. Quote, I don't have time for feeling volatile, he says. The former actor went on to say that good things have come from the time he has spent in treatment. And it's a really good article. I suggest you check it out. But I said, it was interesting here too. Before retiring from acting in 2001, Lloyd's last on-screen role was in the sports drama Madison, which he starred opposite Jen Caviezel. And a lot of people will also remember him, of course, acting alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger in the now Christmas classic in 1996 called Jingle All the Way. It was really nice to get an update about him. I listened to a lot of other Star Wars podcasts, and we've been hearing some updates about that. And it was just nice to get an update.
I'm just glad he's doing well, and he's on getting treatment and making sure he's okay. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that is some good news. Well, there was some late breaking Star Wars news last night too, and this concerns the casting for season 2 of Ahsoka. Even though Ahsoka has not even announced a filming date yet, this is pretty major news because the Hound is coming to Star Wars, but he's coming in to fill some very big shoes. Game of Thrones actor Rory McCann, who played the Hound on Game of Thrones, has joined the cast of Ahsoka in season 2. Per the Hollywood Reporter, McCann is set to portray and take over the role of Baylan Skoll, replacing the late and great Ray Stevenson, who passed away in May of 2023. I know this has been a big topic of contention within the Star Wars community about whether they should recast or not. Obviously, Ray Stevenson shockingly passed away right before Ahsoka season 2 came out, and there was some questions.
You mean season 1?
Yeah, season 1 came out. Yeah, and there had been some talk of do they recast the character, do we not? I think this is pretty. If you're going to cast somebody, this is somebody who I think really fits the bill to take over this particular character, Kevin.
Yeah, if you guys remember too, he really only did one public appearance for Ahsoka. Was when they went to Star Wars Celebration in London, I believe it was. And that was before the series came out. I think they teased something, but it was like really early in the press release and stuff. The cast came out on stage and he was there. And then he was supposed to, of course, make a bunch of others, after the series hit. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. He passed away overseas while he was filming another project. I'm really happy that they are recasting this character, because what this means is that the character that he did, the late Ray Stevenson, which was really, really good. Baylan Skoll was just a great character. It's not only a great tribute to his character, but the fact that the creators, of course, everyone behind Ahsoka and such, they knew that this character was important enough to where we have to continue his story. The only way that we can do that is recast it. And normally this isn't done with Star Wars, really. There was rumors and stuff that, like, what if they recast Carrie Fisher, and what if she came back, in the third film with someone else? And there's been a lot of talk about recasting people one way or another, but I think this might, if you don't, because someone died, I'm not counting the different Darth Vaders and all that kind of stuff, but also too, I think that McCann is a perfect choice. He's tall, definitely, and he's a good actor. So I'm really curious to see what he's going to bring to the table. But more importantly, the character itself is going to live on, and I think that's really important. And obviously, it was important enough for Dave Filoni and everyone else of the creators of Ahsoka that we're not done with the story yet. We need to pay tribute to this.
I kind of feel like as an actor, if something was to happen, I think that they want the character to. I mean, because actors take great pride in encompassing, really embodying those characters. And I think that if the story's not over, I think that they would want. I mean, I would want the character to live on if it was, to be recast. I feel like I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think you're right. I think it honors the character and it honors the previous actor.
What do you think, Kat?
I'm excited for it. I think he looks just like him, just a younger version. Age him up a little bit, give him a similar kind of wig, and dye his beard. And I don't think anybody would even notice the difference if you actually didn't notice.
What's weird too is I didn't expect to see Ray Stevenson in anything after Ahsoka, but it was this summer. Kate Beckinsale's new action thriller Canary Black was released, and he was in it, and he had a large role in it. I was like, oh man, it's nice to see him in something else before he passed away, and it made me think about Baylan Skoll. I'm like, damn it, I want more of him.
Well, and I think too, because they do look a little bit similar in certain aspects, but because of the journey that Balin Skull is going to be on, I think in season 2, if there's a little bit of change in his looks, there's easy ways to just to explain that as well. And I think that could be something that's very interesting, and see how they kind of maybe write that into the script. So I'll be curious about this. And this isn't the only recasting news that's been kind of floating around. There's been a lot of rumors that Marvel might finally be starting to break the ice about Black Panther and recasting T'Challa before Avengers Doomsday. So there is
but his character was killed off though in Wakanda Forever though.
It might be aging up his son that we saw at the end of, who was also named T'Challa.
Okay.
So
there's also been more Black Panther than we've seen, but that's
that's true. But guys, what happens when there's an award show and we kind of forget about it? Because the Golden Globes just happened, which is of course the award show for the actors where they get really drunk and really praise themselves.
It was fun.
It's probably actually one of the more fun award shows. But
can I just say something real quick before we get into the who won what? Nikki Glaser hosted it, and if you don't know who Nikki Glaser is, she's one of the hottest comedians right now, and she's become the go-to person for the celebrity roasts. And when she did the Tom Brady roast, it made world news because she was like the best, and she was effing hilarious in that. And she'd had a really good opening monologue that was very, very, very funny. But if you don't know this, though, Howard Stern loves Nikki Glaser. And whenever she does one of these roasts or does one of these things where she has these jokes, he always brings her on, and she tells him, and she has an actual file on her phone called the HS file, the Howard Stern file, because he always brings her on, and he asked her after this show, which jokes did you guys decide not to say? And she has a whole list of funny jokes that did not make it to that. So it's on Howard Stern's YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, it's very, very funny.
Definitely do that. But we do have some winners from the Golden Globes, and this is interesting this year. Kevin, we've kind of had this conversation about things. The last few years, it feels like there's a lot of movies we don't recognize in the awards section. And I kind of felt that way this year with some of the winners here, because
there's a bunch of weird artsy fartsy looking films that really kind of don't fit our genres that we like to cover here in Culture Clash and Fandom Podcast Network. You kind of hear about some of these, and of the ones that were nominated for Best Motion Picture, I've only seen one.
Well, a couple of them, one just came out because that was Conclave, but a lot of people are talking about that. But let's go through some of these winners. The Best Motion Picture Drama was The Brutalist. The Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy was Amelia Perez, and I think Lacey might be talking about that soon. Best Motion Picture Animated was Flow, which is really surprising because it beat out Inside Out and Moana 2. And
Never even heard of it.
It's so cute. It's about a kitty cat. Oh, it's yeah.
Yeah, I probably would have seen it if I would have heard of it.
Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture drama was Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture drama was Adrian Brody for The Brutalist.
Timothy Chalamet was robbed.
Yep. Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture musical or comedy. Demi Moore for The Substance.
That was a nice win.
Yeah, that was actually, she had a really good speech. I would recommend going to check that out. And best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy, Sebastian Stan, A Different Man, his portrayal of Donald Trump.
No, that's The Apprentice.
Oh, that's The Apprentice. You're right. But big year for Sebastian Stan, and there's some great footage.
So wait, hold on. What was A Different Man? What was that? A
Different Man is the story of Brian. It starts with an S. It's like Sussman or Silverman, or he has some facial problems, some facial growths, and it's about destigmatizing disability and otherness.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Also, though, winning somebody who we do know in fandom, winning best performance by a female actor in a supporting role in any motion picture was Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. Kieran Culkin won supporting actor in a motion picture for A Real Pain. Best director was Jacques has Lacey, you can Jacques Adar. I can't pronounce this. For the director of Amelia Perez.
Oh
no, I'm sorry. No, it was Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
My page is giving me there. And a couple other notes. Shogun cleaned house at this in the TV categories, and Jeremy Allen White from The Bear won Best Actor for a TV series, and the cinematic and box office achievement Golden Globe went to Wicked. So that
what does that mean? What does that mean exactly? What does that? What?
Best numbers.
Best numbers for the year.
I would imagine. Cinematic.
Best numbers. What achievement in cinema most recognized or had a major impact on the box office? Because
it didn't beat Deadpool Wolverine for money, did it?
It made more money. It made more money than Deadpool Wolverine.
What?
Yep.
Wait, how much did it make?
No way.
Cinematic and box office achievement.
How much did Wicked make?
Cinematic and box office achievement.
No, how much money did it make?
I will look.
Well, the movies that were nominated in that category were Alien, Romulus, Beetlejuice, Deadpool, Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2, The Wild Robot, Twisters, and Wicked. Wicked won.
So,
but yeah, Shogun won for best television series
and won several actor categories as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Shogun was the big Shogun and The Brutalist were the two big winners.
Got to give a shout out to Colin Farrell, who won for best television performance, right?
And Jodie Foster did a shout out to her for limited series, anthology series for True Detective.
Okay.
As I was going to say, he won for Penguin.
The definition for the Golden Globes, it says the Golden Globe Award for Cinematic and Box Office Achievement is an award given to films that have earned the most money or have been the most viewed and have garnered extensive global audience support and attained cinematic excellence. So it's not just numbers, it's also...
That's what I figured. Yeah, if it was just numbers, it wouldn't have won that.
It came immediately on everyone's tongue, I guess.
It was better reviewed than Deadpool and Wolverine. So, yeah. That makes sense.
So, okay, guys, that's going to wrap up the news section, which means it's time to transition into our main topic. Kevin, I am going to hand the controls of the podcast over to you because it's time to talk some Skeleton Crew.
All right. Yeah. So, again, just a little reminder here, spoiler warning here. This is Culture Clash Live episode 269. We're discussing Star Wars Skeleton Crew episode 7. We're going to be in so much trouble. And the plot synopsis goes as this. The pirates arrive at Atten at the same time the Onyx Cinder does, resulting in the latter's capture. Realizing that the ship is the only key to bypassing the planet's defensive barrier, Jod kills Brutus when the children incapacitate him. When the children incapacitate him and resumes control of the pirates. Big old claw got him. The claw.
That's what I thought too.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. But the children managed to use the pirate code to get SM-33 to turn on Jod so they could escape. But Jod stows aboard the Onyx Cinder, decapitates SM-33, and threatens the children into silence as he poses as a Republic emissary to gain access to Atten's vaults. The children are briefly reunited with their parents before Jod approaches them with his lightsaber drawn. Dun, dun, dun. Let's get some instant reactions here. Kat, you are our guest. Now, before you give me your reactions of this particular episode, you have obviously been following along throughout the rest of this season. I just want to kind of get your reactions of the season thus far up to this episode.
I'm enjoying it. I like the show. It's like watching the Goonies in space. Is probably the easiest way I would state it. Love some of the characters. Some characters I'm like, okay. Really love the Shestavan Wolfman. I'm much the guy who just
Brutus,
lost.
Yeah.
He was cool. I like actually the picture you're showing. I like the guy in the middle as well.
The father of Wim.
No. The character, the guy with the hat on his head.
Well, that's John.
That's
Okay.
Jod with his helmet on.
Is it? Oh, I
Yes.
liked it. I liked
Yeah.
that particular kid. The one that was a little different.
Who's your favorite of the kids?
The one with the visor.
Yep. Okay. BB. What's her name?
KB.
BB.
Maybe.
KB.
So
KB.
KB. That's right. So, what is your thoughts of this newest episode?
I love the ending. I mean, obviously he's not going to do what we all think he's going to do, but it was definitely left off in that particular, I liked when they showed the ship sort of change from the big bulky thing to the more streamlined looking starfighter.
That was the last episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It
when
was,
she hit
when
the
big
button, it
crab
sort
was
of-
eating it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun to watch him, like that scene right there, where he's on his knees laughing and all the coins dropping onto his head, and he's like, "Ooh, yes." Right there, yeah, that one. Oh no, I like the episode. I like the droid too. He's fun. I like the little rat creature that comes out of his eye every once in a while and pokes his head out and then runs back in.
All right.
All in all, yeah, it was a fun episode.
Kyle, what are your initial reactions to this episode?
I thought it was very interesting. It didn't quite go in all the directions I thought it would take. There's still so much here to address before in the final episode, and this episode was only 36 minutes.
That's including credits, right?
Yeah, it's including credits.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we get into like how they try to get the communication out to the kids, the parents do. I thought that was very interesting, and the ramifications of that. Seeing how the droids, our Republic emissary, is coming, and it's their ship. I'm going to say this, and I think this is kind of a little bit of a hot take.
There's a section for a hot take at the end of the show.
I know, but I think it fits better right here for right now. I think Jod is past the point of redemption.
Well, I'm going to bring up Jod a little bit later, so I would appreciate if you hold on to that thought because that's kind of tied into one of the topics. So yeah, Lacey, what are your thoughts, initial reactions?
Okay, opening scene, worst game of hot potato ever. Like when the parents are trying to get the buoy,
yes.
The buoy, yeah.
getting zapped. It was like high stakes hot potato, like high stakes, like medical high stakes hot potato. I think that the episode itself went way too fast. I clocked it out at 29 minutes.
Is that before credits or after?
Without credits on either end and the preview, the synopsis at the beginning.
Right.
So less than half an hour. I think I was right last episode where I think that he's gonna find the kids again. He's gonna keep, he knows that they're the key to getting, where he needs to be. I don't know that he's not going to try and do something. You saw him with the final shot with the lightsaber. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, we're going to dive into that. My first reaction was it was a good watch, just too short. We've talked about that previous episodes. I just feel there was a lot more they could dive into, but I thought it was. I think I enjoyed the first half more than the second half. Just with the pirates and stuff like that, and we're starting to learn more about Atten as well. And it was nice to see the parents finally making a prolonged appearance in this as well, since they were trying to obviously get this buoy to communicate. Kyle,
I think it's really important. One thing too with this episode, when Jod says that Atten's been hidden for hundreds of years.
yeah,
And then we get the parents talking about, well, when you turn 18, and I think those are two big key plot points. But again, because the episode was so short, they didn't really get to address them, I think, properly. And that's
you brought us something interesting, Kyle. That you're supposed to find this out when you reach a certain age. So what does that mean exactly?
When you graduate.
What?
They said when you graduate.
Whatever, yeah, but like a certain age. But what I mean is, what I'm asking you guys is, what exactly? What's that process? What does that process do? Like, what do the kids go through when they reach that age? Do they learn the truth? What does that mean exactly? What do you think?
I'm kind of thinking they learn the truth, or they learn at least some of the truth. Maybe
They're
not all the truth, but some of the truth.
Kat, what do you think?
Same. They probably learn more about their planet, what it really is, who they really are, why they are, where they are. That would be my guess.
Yeah, this is kind of a deep cut, but there was in '85 they did it was only one season of the new Twilight Zone.
I remember that.
There was a couple of episodes that stood out for me, and one of them was it took place in the future, and these parents were uneasy about this test that their child had to take. And their child was very bright and very smart and says, don't worry, mom, dad, I'm gonna ace this test. I know how important this is for us. What the kid didn't know, and what we didn't know at the time as the audience, was that it's a test that parents don't want their kids to pass, because the government, the futuristic controlling government, didn't want people that were too smart, that would maybe turn against them and be too smart. And when the kid found out that he passed, he was so excited. The parents were horrified, and they took the kid away. And I kind of got vibes of this episode of that kind of happening when they turn 18. I'm like, so what, do you become miserable? I mean, I don't know. It was interesting. It's like 18, you learn the secret of Manhattan, or you learn just enough to where you don't know too much. So I'm kind of curious that indoctrination happens.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be something where they learn exactly how much indoctrination they've had. They have to take some sort of test. They probably have to, pledge some sort of allegiance or risk being outcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And it
right,
makes a more specific sense, because like in the scene where the parents are standing there and the loudspeaker comes on and he says, this is the creator speaking or whatever. And the Fern's mother, like, legit does a pearl clutch. Like he never, what, so I think that there's definitely some hierarchical symbolism. We'll just go there. So.
Well, before we get into the main discussion, guys, we do have a little bit of trivia and Easter eggs. Let's do that right now. All right, so I found some really nice Easter eggs here, guys. I want to talk to. There's a lot of parallels to stuff we've seen before. And I like to give a shout out to the article here, screenrant.com. They gave me a good list here, and I picked some of the best ones here. Episode 7 features several exciting Star Wars Easter eggs and references. As the kids of the Onyx Cinder finally return home to At-Atten, the race is on between them and the band of pirates seeking to claim the planet's fabled treasure, led by Jude Law's Jod Nawood, a.k.a. Captain Silvo. To that end, several nods and connections to the greater Star Wars universe are made, including a dark parallel between Jod and Darth Vader himself in 2005's Revenge of the Sith. And if you're watching the video here on YouTube, you see the two slides that we have here look kind of familiar. Jod threatens a kid with the blue lightsaber, mirroring Anakin in Order 66. Jod threatens Wim, Neil, KB, and Firm with his newly acquired blue lightsaber. Very much mirrors Anakin Skywalker's attack on the Jedi Temple during Order 66, specifically when he corners the younglings. Master Skywalker, what is happening? During the purge at the Jedi Temple. Kat, did you catch this at all?
Not in the slightest. I only saw, as much as I hate to say it, the prequels once each, except for the first one, which I saw a couple times. I'm not a prequel guy, so
gotcha.
Didn't notice it.
I did. It hit me in the feels. Lacey, did you catch this at all?
Yeah, I think that also might lead to a little bit more information about, in the very first episode we were talking, or maybe it was the second episode when he grabbed the lightsaber at the end, talking about, how he might have become Jedi adjacent and how he might have been there somehow when that happened. I'm thinking that's still a strong possibility now.
Kyle, what about you? And Lacey brought something up too that I think is worth touching on. Is there's been a lot of speculation that Jod could have been one of these kids, or just a Jedi in training that unfortunately never finished his training because of
having to go
Order
into
66. What was that, Lacey?
Having to go into hiding because murder?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a possibility of that kind of tie-in, but I'm going to just circle back to that this is the frustrating thing. The final episode could be 2 hours to cover all the questions that we have. Right?
That ain't happening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping we get at least 45 minutes, but no, I mean, and I honestly didn't at the time watching it, didn't pick up on this comparison, but now that it's there, yeah, it's very obvious. So
yeah. All right, guys. The next one we have here is I Have a Bad, a classic Star Wars line. Although the arrival of the security droids cut her off, every Star Wars fan knows what Neil's mom was going to say. Before she's stunned by the droids, Neil's mother, Numa, almost says the classic Star Wars bad feeling line, in which has been heard time and time again across the saga. It's just like, yeah, she got cut off. She got stunned. So
can we just shout out that macrame necklace? Like that is that thing. It kind of like attaches almost to the vest situation.
We're holding up a nice picture of Numa,
Yeah, that's
Neil's
just
mom.
awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome. I love Neil's family. He's got his little twin brothers or sisters too, which is kind of cool. Okay, the next one we got, guys, here. It was kind of a quick little thing here. Skeletons Crew's kids playing Grav Ball, a popular Star Wars game aboard the Onyx Cinder. The kids are briefly shown playing Grav Ball before their arrival at Ad-Adden. Grav Ball is a classic Star Wars game played by children across the galaxy, most notably in Corellia and Lothal. I was trying to remember when we'd seen this before. Does anybody have any memory of
maybe
this?
in Rebels?
Maybe. Yeah. Kat, do you know? Remember Grav Ball?
I don't know where they got to grab when they got a Grav Ball onto the ship.
I'm
Yeah,
guessing Rebels.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. The next one I got here is "Don't Look Like a Treasure Planet to Me." Another connection to Disney's Treasure Planet. Brutus refers to Ad-Adden as a treasure planet in Skeleton Crew Episode 7, a term many Star Wars fans have already been using, thanks to all the similarity of the show's plot with the Disney animated film of the same name, such as Brutus actually saying Treasure Planet, further cements the parallels to the classic Disney movie, a massively underrated cult favorite, particularly among millennials, their writer included. I remember this movie. I never saw it. You guys seen this?
Oh, I love this.
Planet?
This is a truly underrated Disney classic. I know it kind of bombed at the box office. It had a huge budget because it was incredibly expensive to make because they used at the time some cutting edge animation technology. But this is a fun movie. I think it's one of Disney's more underrated, kind of in that maybe not quite the Black Cauldron level, but it's up there. And I think it's if you have not seen it, it's worth a visit.
Lacey, I want to get your thoughts on Treasure Planet because every now and then when I go through the used DVD sections at thrift stores, I see a copy, but I never pick it up. Now I have to.
Okay, yeah. So Treasure Treasure Planet, it's a space version of Treasure Island.
Okay.
So you've got all of the characters. It's got a huge cast. It's people you wouldn't necessarily expect. Of course, they're all floated out of my brain right now, so I can't remember any of them. But
that's all right.
I want to say like Michael J. Fox is one of the.
That was it. Michael J. Fox did Atlantis.
Was it Atlantis? Yeah. Okay. Then was it?
But you enjoyed the film, though. That's what I was going to get.
It was fantastic. Yeah, it's a great Disney version of Treasure Island, and
It was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Martin Short is in it, Emma Thompson, Michael Wincott, Laurie Metcalf, Brian Murray. Those are just some of the highlights of it.
David Hyde Pierce. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll have to check that out because I am now curious of this. Kat, you said you had not seen it, right?
No, I haven't. I'm not familiar with it at all.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, guys.
I'm pretty sure Joss Whedon did a punch up on it. I know he did Titan AE, and I think he did a punch up on that as well. Not that
Kevin, real quick, D. Bradley Baker also does a voice in Treasure Planet.
Gotcha. All right, the next one is an endless storm, similar to other Star Wars planets. The endless storm over at Atten brings to mind other planets such as Camino or the Tempest planet Evron, which was once the home world of Marichin Ro. Ro was the leader of the Nile during the High Republic era, a group of marauders who became major threats to the Republic and Jedi Order. A series no one read. I know some of you read it. I know, but no. Yeah. All right. Next we have here, guys. I did catch this. I don't know if you guys did or not. A familiar pirate snub fighter in Skeleton Crew episode 6, first seen in the Mandalorian season 3. Brutus's crew is shown piloting various snub fighters, many of which are the same design as the ones seen under the command of the late pirate Captain Gorian Shard in the Mandalorian season 3. This does track seeing how Shard's second in command, Vane, survived the Mandalorian season 3 and has been shown working for Brutus in Skeleton Crew. Perhaps he brought some of his snub fighters with him. Did you guys catch this at all?
I didn't catch that, but I do think that this gives definite Teen Wolf vibes.
I see where you're going with that.
Just, a little bit of van surfing,
Yeah. Ravager 1, a call sign with Legends connections. The Quarren volunteer, rest in peace, who flies through Atton's maelstrom, refers to himself with the call sign Ravager 1. This may be a connection to the Ravagers, a pirate gang from Legends located on the planet Rishi, who first debuted in Star Wars The Old Republic, Shadows of Revan. Likewise, the planet Rishi was featured in the first season of the Clone Wars. Oh, there you go. And I'll do one more here, guys. Satellite defense grid in action, not unlike Palpatine's Order Operation Cinder, with a similar satellite network having been decommissioned around at Akron in previous episodes of Skeleton Crew. The active satellite defense grid seemingly generating the storms around at Atten mirrors the weather manipulating satellites used by the Empire during Palpatine's Order Operation Cinder, which was Palpatine's brutal orders to strike at various worlds as punishment for his demise, which culminated with the Battle of Jakku. So, and I did want to mention real quick, guys, that the voice that we do hear of the person on Ad Atten that does the big voiceover thing, that actually was actor Stephen Fry. For those of you that don't know, and Kat, you may not know this, but first of all, he does the voice for all of the Harry Potter audiobooks for the European versions, not Jim Dale, who does all the American releases. But also he has a tie to Mr. Jude Law himself, because he also starred in Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows, where, of course, Law played Dr. John Watson. So there you go.
Stephen Fry is my favorite atheist. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the main topic here. Kat, you said you have to go in a little bit, right? How much time we got here with you?
About 10 minutes, unfortunately.
All right. Well, we'll try to get into the main section here. The Star Wars Skeleton Crew review. Let's get into the biggest one here. I want to get you guys. We're going to start off with here. So topic 1 is Jod not knowing. Jod kills Brutus and leads the pirates here. We also know that he threatens kids and such like that. When it comes to taking over the pirates, I'm going to start with you, Kat. This didn't surprise me, but what did surprise me was what happened towards the end. I want to get your thoughts on Jod here. And also, is he redeemable or is he unredeemable?
I'm hoping he's not redeemable because he's making a very good bad guy, and I'm liking that. It makes his character more fleshed out, and going back to what you guys said about him being a possible Padawan or escaped student because he didn't want to die. But he definitely is imbibing the law of the pirates. You do this, I'm going to kill you. So I'm enjoying his character, and I'm hoping he doesn't kill the kids, but, at the same time, how dark is he going to go, How dark are they going to make him?
Yeah, he's definitely being a good bad guy. He's going darker than we probably thought, because obviously he kills SM-33, captures a kid, threatens with a lightsaber, and then we see what happens towards the end. Lacey, what about you? What are your thoughts on Jaw? Is he redeemable or not?
I think that he's basically an intergalactic Harold Hill from The Music Man, where he can charm anyone. He's a con man. He uses everything at his disposal to get what he wants. And if that requirement is death and murder, then he's like, all right, whatever. I don't think that any of it is necessarily specifically, I don't think he's villainous to be villainous. I think that he will do anything that he can to get what he wants. And if he has to cross a line, he's not afraid to do it.
What about you, Kyle?
He's a slime ball. And we don't have a lot of those in the Star Wars universe.
Kyle, you said you had a hot topic on this, a hot take.
We are at the point that Jod is, I do not think, irredeemable in any way. He has threatened these kids' parents and threatened these kids to harm their parents if they get out of line. He took the head of SM-33. He killed the previous captain in cold blood. I mean,
yeah.
He and I think the tipping point, and this goes actually hats off to Jude Law and his performance. The crazed look, and I think you actually have it in one of your older slides, Kevin, of Jod as the Republic credits are falling through his hands.
Yeah.
That is a man who has lost sanity. That is a man who has become driven by treasure and lost his mind to the treasure. And I don't think he is at the point now where all he sees is the gold. All he sees is the treasure, and nothing else matters to him. And I'm personally going to, you want a hot take, Jod does not survive this season.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that, and I would not be surprised, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think if he's redeemable or not. I'm like, I don't know. I remember going into the last was it Rise of Skywalker, and I'm like, there's no way that what's his name?
Kylo.
Kylo is going to be redeemable, and they tried to make him redeemable, but he was not in my eyes anyway. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Lacey.
I think that the transition or the moment for me was when he, without thought or premise, when they were in the treasure chamber on the last planet on the Lula, whatever, the pleasure planet, and he looked at 33 and says, "You have control," and he said, "Yep," and he said, fill that chamber with acid." Didn't think about it. Knew they were there. Yep. These are people that he had spent a considerable amount of time with. These are basically his crewmates. And the fact of the matter is, when he was captured this time, he's still able to charm them. So it's almost like an abuse.
That mind trick.
It's like a domestic abuse situation where they just can't quit him.
Yeah.
And there's like Stockholm syndrome or whatever you want to call it, but yeah.
Well, before you go here, Kat, I wanted to get your thoughts on the last two topics here. The kids managed to release the kids' parents released a communication device. Jod and the kids reach them, and then we see the treasure, the actual treasure of AT-AT in here. I want a two-part question here, Kat. First of all, did you expect to see this much treasure?
No.
How many did they mention here? And what
there's like 16 more rooms like this too.
Yeah, it's crazy. What is your predictions for next week as well? But give me your thoughts on the treasure and then your predictions.
I don't see him being taken out. I see him being the very resourceful guy he is. He's gonna probably get caught again. He'll get out using his either glibness of words, convince people that he's not who he is, or mind tricks. And then it'll probably be him flying off planet, or the pirates flying him off planet. That's how I think it's going to end. I mean, again, I haven't been following it as in detail as you guys have, because I haven't been doing the Culture Clash with you. So I'm just watching it as a fan, but that's what I'm thinking. Something's going to happen. He's going to end up getting caught, glibness away, and then flying away.
You didn't comment on the treasure. What are they going to do with all that treasure?
They're going to keep it. He might get a couple of pockets full.
That's maybe a lot of treasure. I mean, it's
I know.
Some people think it's
when he starts laughing when it's falling on his head. It's like that's when he's like going insane. It's like, yeah, that's a little bit of treasure there, my friend. That's billions and billions and billions of credits.
Some people are speculating this is what funds the first order. So who knows?
Hmm.
Well, Kat, thank you so much for coming on. I know you got to go. We
do.
appreciate you coming on, and hopefully
Thank
we'll
you,
see you
guys.
next week. Maybe.
I believe there's something happening on Tuesday that I'll be seeing you guys.
Oh, of course. But I mean, for maybe we'll see it for the final season finale of Skeleton Crew. So anyway,
Possible.
thank you, buddy. We'll see you. We'll see you for Deadpool, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Love doing
You
it.
cat.
Bye.
All right, Lacey.
Yes, Kevin.
Did you think there's going to be this much damn treasure?
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought. Well, when you think about it, if it's they were told in the last transmission or whatever that they caught that that At-Atten was the what do you call it, the mint, right? So absolutely, if this mint has been hidden for as long as it has, and all they've been doing is mining and creating credits, especially if it's over 100 years, the way I mean, that's easily, they're not using the credits, they're underneath the dome. They're legit, just all they're doing is just creating more and more and more. What's going to happen if all this money goes out, they're going to blow the economy. It's going to cost $4 million of those credits for a cup of coffee. Because
that's how you would like the Empire or whoever would control it and then use it to slowly kind of siphon for the needs that they need. And by the way, I did one of the things I want to mention was that one of the droids confirms that At-Atten has 1,139 vaults in its depths filled with this stuff.
Yeah, just
and there's a little shout out to George Lucas's 71 sci-fi movie THX 1138 because it's one more than that. So
right, one more than that. I loved it.
Yeah, but I want to get your predictions for next episode in a little bit, but I just want to get Kyle's thoughts on these. On just one of these of 1,139 volts.
I'm like, just one of those bricks alone can probably set you for life in the Star Wars galaxy. But yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate mind blow. I mean, he walks in and this is like everything he's probably ever dreamed of in his life and more when it comes to treasure. It's a beautiful shot. I mean, it's a beautiful shot that completely is overwhelming, and I got to give it on the cinematic side. It's very well done there. But I mean, yeah, and to find out that this planet has that many more of these, I'm like, what else is on this? What else is underneath this planet? I mean, there's
I like Lacey. I like how you said that it would mess up the economy because it probably could if it was not used
100%.
wisely. Another thought?
Think about the fact that because this is only on one planet and the Republic credits are so valuable outside. I mean, remember, Wim had, I think it was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We're going to be for lunch on At-Atten, right? Or lunch for the week, right? So lunch, think about this, lunch for the week, probably 1 per day, maybe.
Yeah.
So one of those per day for a kid's lunch, and then when he was on the very first planet, when they were on the space station, and they tried to pay for lunch, and everybody was like, whoa, I mean, that's a big deal.
Look what it did at the Pleasure Hotel.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you figure that he used, the last 6 or 7 that he had to get all of that Pleasure Planet, I guess, discreetness, discretion.
So the last thing I wanted to ask you guys is what to expect for the final episode that we're going to get here. Obviously, the final scene that we get here is a little cliffhanger where Jod corners the kids and the family and their parents with a lightsaber. A lot of questions up in the air. First of all, who's controlling At-Atten, and what are we going to see with Jod Nalwood in this next episode? Kat was saying that he'll probably get captured. It was made apparently clear in this episode that the ship, the Onyx Cinder, was able to surpass through this shield, basically.
So it's an At-Atten ship.
Yeah, and so I don't know how the pirates are going to be able to get through that shield without, them being brought back in one of those ships. So it's going to be kind of interesting because, we've seen the droids ruling the roost, so to speak, but then we hear this voice of Stephen Fry. Is he a robot, a droid, or is he someone that, kind of knows what's going on, and he is in a position of power where he can control all of these droids and everyone else? Is he? Anyway, we got questions. So, Lacey, let's start with you here. What do you expect to see?
Well, he kind of has like Wizard of Oz vibes, right? He's the man behind the curtain. Nobody sees him. She was legitimately shocked when she heard his voice come over.
You're talking about the Stephen Fry character, yeah.
I was piggybacking on what you said about him not knowing, kind of whether he was in control or if he's a robot or what.
Yeah.
But again, it's a reasonable thing for you to say that it could be a recording or a hologram from decades ago that isn't used, unless certain things happen. So as far as the kids, I think that they're going to be safe and sound for a minute until whatever hits the fan. Because I don't necessarily think that Jod is the most dangerous part of the situation. I think that what they're getting ready to learn about the planet is going to be something that is hard to swallow. And I think that, they've had a taste of the outside world, and they're going to know things that maybe other people, like they're going to have information that contradicts whatever this indoctrination that they've had all along. So, talking about, you have to stay inside the barrier and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like the village, right? You can't go outside the village because whatever. And then you find out, spoiler alert, the village is just like, 60 families who gave up on the United States and bought a farm.
You're talking about M. Night Shyamalan's film again.
Right. Yeah. And so
you've made that reference, and it's spot on.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to happen, because these kids now have more information than likely multiple generations of the adults who are on that planet.
Yeah.
So, and you also have Jod as the interloper, who is an adult.
So what you're saying, the kids are in double jeopardy because of what they now know from the outside, as well as what Jod's going to do to them.
I think that with Jod knowing the information that the kids know, because Jod is an adult who has the same information that the children do, I think that he might use that to his advantage to remain free in some way. Because if he has information that, if the kids are saying, no, it's not like that out there. It's total. I mean, there were some crazy things, but it's not like that. Whatever the thing that they're going to be told, I have a feeling is going to be something they're going to be able to contradict. And when they do that, they're going to be dismissed because they're children. And Jod is going to be able to say, wait, now, hold on. Actually, they're not lying. This is the truth. This is what's actually going on out there. You've been fed a line. X number of years ago, somebody made that decision, bought a big farm in the middle of nowhere, and convinced you that there were people in horse masks.
Another reference to that movie.
I know. It's such an easy.
Kyle, want to get your what are you expecting to see in the next episode?
So one of the things with Skeleton Crew all along is they've said it's kind of a tribute to Steven Spielberg meets Star Wars. At some point in every Steven Spielberg type of movie like this, Goonies or whatever, there is a loss of innocence. The kids grow up. I could see a scenario in the next episode where one of the kids, either firm or whim, ends up killing Jaw to protect their friends and family. I could also see it as a setup because they still have access to this ship that can get out of Ad-Aden. If something, I think the shit's going to hit the fan in Ad-Aden. I think the droids, him drawing the lightsaber, might trigger something within those droids at Ad-Aden.
And I also feel like they can actually all get on, because everyone's there right now. So they have their whole families are there, and they can easily just hop on that ship and get out.
Right.
I think this is going to be the setup for season 2. Sorry.
Well,
my bad.
Or at least a setup to introduce these characters somewhere else, because one, the parents are already facing ramifications for what they did. The kids are going to eventually face ramifications. The question is, and this is something I've had speculation about with Skeleton Crew since it started. There's an aspect of Skeleton's Crew that always had felt to me a little like it could have a Lost in Space kind of vibe. And what better way than to have the families get off the ship with this, get off the planet in the ship with all these Republic credits that they can have access to, whether Jod dies or Jod lives, and he kind of becomes in their custody, just like our good villain from Lost in Space, the good doctor traveling along with them. I really feel that that's the direction they're going to take this in. That there is going to be, it's going to end with this kind of having a Lost in Space Robinson family kind of feel to it.
Okay, so before I go on, what we see about this shield is that it looks like it's being maintained by these machines that are floating around, which tells me that if this system is turned off or destroyed, then this shield around the planet will go. Would you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So the reason why I bring that up, and I don't know if this is a hot take, but the one thing that we have to learn from next week's final episode is why is this planet being hidden, and how there's still somebody out there that knows that this planet exists and knows, that it's being protected, because they were so fast to assume that Jod Nawud was one of these, what do they call them? Representative, what was
emissaries?
Emissaries.
Emissaries.
That they were so easy to believe him that they accepted that. So that means that someone on the outside is protecting this planet for a reason and hiding it for a reason. Whether in creating all of this, give me a second here, Lacey. They're creating all of this money and some for, in my opinion, a nefarious reason. Now, Jedis are still out there and stuff, but I gotta feel that it's not Jedi. It's someone else that has a reason to keep this planet a secret. And what we learned from Denod, the pirate, that he obviously was on the planet, he knows about it, but I think that he was trying to keep it a secret, but I don't think he's the big threat, or I think he just kind of fell into it maybe and knew the secrets behind it, or maybe he was either he knew the people behind it, or maybe he was trying to protect it, or whatever it was, or maybe he was in league with whoever's trying to do this. I think it's either, I hate to say it, but I have a feeling that they might try to tie it into either what's going to happen in the sequel trilogy, or there's a Sith tie into this or something, because this is a lot of damn money that can control and have a lot of power going forward. So I feel that that's going to be the biggest threat, and Jod is just going to be, like you say, either be killed by one of the kids, or just, maybe die in another way, because I don't think he's redeemable enough to where he's going to try to save someone's life from the kids, maybe from the bigger threat of what we eventually are going to have to find out and get the payoff. Because if we don't get the payoff on this, it's going to be quite disappointing. Lacey, you put your hand up first. You had a comment on that?
Yes, two things. I will say that I have forgotten the first thing. So the second thing is, what if Stephen Fry's character is Renaud, and he put that ship there on purpose underground and faked his own death inside, whatever, so that if it was ever found,
right,
they could, but he would have like an easy out if he needed to, because this is
that's a good point.
His
getaway vehicle.
Yeah, this is a ship that he coated it with all the different, weird, he camouflaged it so that it wouldn't look like one of their ships, which could be interesting. And you were talking about something, and I lost it because I don't remember what it was.
Well, let's go to Kyle until you remember it. Kyle.
So here's thinking a little outside the box. If this is tying into the Filoniverse, which they keep saying it was going to, who just came back in another show with a whole big army, but might need some funding to, enhance things? What if at some point in this episode, the guy who knows about AT-AT and everything that's going on, and he would be a guy who would probably know about it, is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Yeah, that's looking more immediate, and that could work. Yeah.
And this series ends with Thrawn showing up.
Yeah, because that would give him power to really be the next big threat before we get the New Order later on. Because Thrawn eventually will have to be defeated, obviously, but we haven't seen his threat. He's been just kind of hanging around in the Filoniverse. We haven't seen him like we have in the books. Where he was really, really bad and powerful. We've been waiting for him to finally make his move. So I see where you're going with that, Kyle. I like that, actually. That's good. Lacey, did you think of what you wanted to say?
No, I got nothing. Oh, I will say, I think we should each put in a guess as to how many minutes the finale is going to be, though.
45. 45.
You think 45?
That's being generous. I'm going to say 35 minutes, not including credits.
I think I'm going to go 112, including credits. I think they're going to do
that's bull. That's bull.
I'm going to go full hour.
That's a bold pick, Cotton.
I'm doing it. I'm going full 112.
Well, I hope I'm so wrong with that, though, Lacey. That would be
That's
nice.
The thing. They did it with Loki. They did it with WandaVision. They did it with several of the Marvel shows, and I don't know if they've done that with any of the other Star Wars shows.
But that's the big payoff, though. We need to figure out what this money's going to be used for. I mean, to me, what happens with Jod is a secondary thing for me. He's become the bad guy. Fine, whatever. But I'm more excited about finding out with this, and that we need to see someone on the outside make an appearance, because maybe they hear through the pirate core or the pirate text grid or whatever it is that, your secret planet's being threatened here. Someone got out. And I would like to see that payoff in the next episode. So, yeah.
And let's face it, I wouldn't mind Jod sticking around for a minute, because the better your bad guy, the better your good guys. The more.
I would like to see him not die personally. Kyle wants him dead apparently by the hands.
No, I don't want him dead, but I do think it's a very strong possibility.
Yeah. Did you guys have any fun moments or other as we say, bomb it from orbit, hot takes, anything like that? I think we've kind of already said. I
think we've had them. I don't know if there's a much fun factor to this.
Yeah, I know.
The funniest part of the whole show for this episode was the angry hot potato, like the hot potato, like just the run.
That was stressful.
There's something for the claw. There is something for the claw.
Yeah, that's fair.
The claw. All right, Kyle, I now turn it over to you. That was Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Let us know what you think. We want to get some ideas on what other people are thinking for what's going to happen with this season finale. So anyway.
Well, we have finished talking about Skeleton Crew, which means we've seen a few things. Buy it, stream it, or unsee it. That's right. It's time to buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Our review section here at Culture Clash, whether we really like it, which means we're going to buy it. It was good, but we're not 100% sure about it, so we're going to stream it. Oh my gosh, can I just unsee what I just saw? But we have a lot of fun with this. This is our review section, so spoiler alerts again one more time very quickly. Kevin, do you want to push the button?
Spoiler alert. Crap, where is it? There it is. Oh, wait. There it is. Kyle, I wasn't ready, damn it.
Give the man a chance, and he fumbles. He must be a Raider fan.
Taking shots, Jesus.
But you know what, though? I take shots at Kevin because I care, but I also have mad respect for him because he is the king. Lacey might be the queen of movie foo, but Kevin, I am dubbing the king of Letterboxd. How many movies did we wrap up with in 2024?
Quite a bit. When I started in 2023, I reached 407, and then I ended 2024 at 432 films I watched. And that doesn't count seeing one more than once, so like I didn't count Deadpool 3 or 4 times. It, only counted as once. But
So where are we at in 2025?
right now, as of January 10th, I am at 22 films, and there is quite a few Hallmark movies in there too.
DC?
I started tracking mine as well. Where did I just look at it? Hold on. I have, as of today, 27.
Nice.
Oh.
Lacey's in the lead.
Yeah.
We got a challenge for 2025. At least doesn't like the fact that Kevin became the king of Letterboxd.
And like he's saying that doesn't include watching commentaries on like a dozen of them. Yeah.
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 So, and we have fun with Letterboxd. We love Letterboxd. They are a great.
You can find us on Letterboxd. So yeah, make sure you check us out. Let us know. Follow us.
Absolutely. But let's get into some things we've seen. And I went a little animated this week. I watched a couple of animated series. Everybody's so focused on James Gunn's Superman, but that is not the official start of his DC universe. It is actually Creature Commandos, the animated series on HBO Max. I have finished watching this. If you are a fan of Suicide Squad, you are going to very much like Creature Commandos. It follows a group of military superhumans comprised of a human leader, a werewolf, a vampire, Frankenstein's monster, and a gorgon. So, but it has a very impressive cast of actors doing the voices. You have Indira Varma voicing the Bride, Sean Gunn voicing G.I. Robot, Alan Tudyk voicing Dr. Phosphorus, Zoe Chow voicing Nina Mazursky, David Harbour voicing Frankenstein, Frank Grillo, Kevin, voicing Rick Flag Sr., not Jr., Senior, Maria Baklova voicing Princess Lana, and Julian Kostov as Alexei, and Viola Davis returns to voice the one and only Amanda Waller. James Gunn wrote this himself. You can definitely feel that with the
this is DC canon, right? Compared to his new
this
DC
is canon
story?
for the James Gunn universe.
Okay, gotcha.
This is a very if you like Suicide Squad, like I said, you will like Creature Commandos. You have the Weasel character from Suicide Squad in this. But the great thing that Gunn does, and he does this so well, he did it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and he does it again here. These oddball characters, he humanizes them. And he makes even what is like these villainous characters, aspects of them that you find a way to relate to these characters. And yet they are so over the top. David Harbour as Frankenstein is hilarious in this show. And it's got the Gunn over the top violence, just like in Suicide Squad. Frank Grillo is great as Rick Flag Sr., even dealing with some of the effects of the previous Suicide Squad and what happened to his son in that film. So I would definitely say Creature Commandos is for sure strong. Stream it. I think it's a great kickoff to the Gunn DC universe. And if this is going to be it's definitely a James Gunn production. So that's the one thing I'm looking forward to, seeing Gunn get a little outside of his box with Superman and hopefully some of these other things. But if you are looking for traditional James Gunn, he's kicking off his DC universe in the way James Gunn only can.
I think that saying it the other direction, because James Gunn is always outside of the box. I love the idea of him pulling Superman out of the box.
No, I get what you're saying. But I would like to see James Gunn pull Superman out of the box, but he doesn't need to get outside of his own box, because I think there's a medium that he has to find.
Yeah.
Superman. That's between what a Suicide Squad is and what Superman needs to be.
Sure.
But I like I said, for an animated series, the animation is very well done. The voice acting is top notch. I definitely say if you are going to be diving into the James Gunn DC universe, this is a must watch. It's a stream it. It might not quite be for everybody. For me, I thoroughly enjoyed it though.
Cool.
And I continued my animation viewing this week with a new series on Amazon called Secret Level. And this is a story it's an anthology series, original stories within the world of iconic video games which are featured in this anthology series. Here's the kicker. This series is created by Tim Miller, who created the great Netflix animated anthology series in series Love, Death, and Robots. But for a lot of us, we know Tim Miller as the director of the first Deadpool movie. These shorts are beautiful. They all of them are. There's some different styles of animation, but just absolutely beautiful. They're all pulled from different video games. There's even a Pac-Man one that's really thought of outside of the box, but very good. You've got something for. You've got stuff from Warhammer 40K. There's a Dungeons and Dragons one that is phenomenal. In fact, it's the first one in the series. There's a Mega Man.
So just hold on a second. To clarify, these shorts are all attached to well-known video games that we know of, and there's a different variant story of these characters.
Or with something within the world of that video game, because some of them are like RPGs or big things, but they would fit into the world of those games. I'll be honest with you. I think the longest one's probably about 17 minutes. So it's something to where you can watch a few of them at a time and kind of revisit it. But the voice talent on this is amazing. You have Fred Tatasciore of Kevin, who we know from, or Tescator, from Lower Decks.
Yes.
Keanu
and also
Reeves.
He does the voice of Brutus in, of course, Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is the lead in one of these anthologies. Yeah.
What?
Ariana Greenblatt, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Emily Swallow of Mandalorian fame.
Did you say Emily Swallow?
Emily Swallow.
Yeah, she was also the Darkness in Supernatural for season 9 or 10.
Yeah. Kevin Elodie Young from Daredevil on Netflix played Elektra.
Nice.
Kevin Hart, Michael Beach, Tamora Morrison, Gabrielle Luna. Our good friend Christopher Judge from Stargate.
Nice.
Patrick Schwarzenegger and Mark Shepard are all people who have did voice work on this.
Very nice. That's pretty That's a pretty massive talent pool there.
For me, where it is an anthology series, so not every one might hit home with everybody, but I will say as a whole, if I could buy this, I would. This was outstanding. I was a huge fan of Love, Death, and Robots.
How was the Pac-Man one? Just give me a little teaser on that.
The Pac-Man one is something you will never expect. Let me just put it that way. I to try to explain it would spoil it.
Waka.
You will, knowing you, Kevin, I don't know if you necessarily like what the approach they took to it, but it was very interesting, and I give them credit for doing something, definitely thinking differently with Pac-Man.
Makes me miss my Pac-Man phone I used to have.
But no, I would definitely call it, for me, this is a buy it, but yeah, right now it's only available to stream on Amazon Prime, but definitely if you're if you're a gamer, if you're a fan of animation, or you're just a fan of any of these these actors who are doing voice work in it. Keanu Reeves does the one based off the Armored Core video game series, and that one is one of the better ones of this anthology. So definitely check it out. But now, Lacey, you went down the Netflix rabbit hole this week, starting with a movie we talked about a little bit earlier because it won the Golden Globe.
Yes.
Amelia Perez with Zoe Saldana and Selena Gomez actually being the big recognizable names.
This just dropped, right?
November. It came out in November.
Did it really? God, I don't even remember this.
Okay, and I had no idea. Okay. I saw that it was I knew we were going to be doing this tonight. It's been snowing. I couldn't go anywhere. I was planning on going to see Den of Thieves 2 because I watched Den of Thieves the other day. I was going to watch that so we'd have something to talk about. And snow. And if you know anything about Atlanta, snow, even 3 flakes is dangerous and the whole city shuts down. So
that's for sure.
I was like, okay, I'll pull a couple, I literally went on to Netflix and I picked the top 2 that were on what pulled up for me. And I had to get, it was like the top 4 because some of them were in 2023 and I wanted to make sure they were brand new. So it was this one. And then, the next one we're going to talk about. I knew that they had won several Golden Globes. They were nominated, I think, for 9 or 10, and they won 3, I think. It was Best Picture for musical or comedy. It was Best
Foreign Language Film, Zoe Saldana, and I think music it won for.
Okay. Anyway, lots of awesomeness, and I was like, okay, I love Zoe. I love what's her name, Selena Gomez, like, she's been doing some cool stuff recently. I was like, I'll give this a shot. I had no clue what I was looking at going into it. I did not see the Golden Globes. I saw a couple of clips of people that I liked, but I didn't watch the thing, so I don't know anything about it. It is like, if you were to pick like 7 words out of like just the English dictionary randomly, you would not pick 7 more different words than the potential possibilities for putting this script together. It is about a lawyer, a prosecutor who is unhappy with her job being a prosecutor because she knows that the people she's she's getting off are guilty. She is approached by a cartel boss, kidnapped and approached by a cartel boss to help him transition into being a woman, partially because for the first 10 minutes, you don't realize that he's actually had these feelings for a long time. You think that he's just doing this to get away from being caught. And so for like the first 10 minutes, you're like, what is happening? Why? That's some extreme measures to go through just to like not, get arrested or whatever. And then you find out that he has to go through all these things, and she's supposed to find the doctors and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's just this crazy stuff. And he's got, his wife is Selena Gomez. They've got a couple of kids, and it's this crazy thing. And so there's like all these flights, and there's like Switzerland, and there's 17 different locations, and it's a musical.
Wait, what?
It's a musical. Wow. Never have I heard a musical that encompassed words like vaginoplasty and rhinoplasty as rhymes. I was like, what just happened? What? Don't get me wrong. It wasn't making fun of anything. It was very conscientious of the real situations that people who are trans have to go through, and the real, experiences that they go through. And it was not glib in any way, but it's a musical. Much like, Les Mis is a musical. It's not a funny musical. It's just a musical about a dramatic subject.
I still can't tell if you like it or not.
It was fascinating, but also, like, first of all, who knew that Zoe Saldana can sing? And then she was like dancing and like doing all kinds of, and then there was like a red velvet suit. And the thing is, the first 30 minutes, transition is done. And you're like, oh, we still have an hour and 15 minutes to go. What the heck are they going to do now? What?
Okay, so
it's so cool. Like, okay, it's definitely not for everybody. The woman who plays the main character is trans in real life. Phenomenal job. They did amazing makeup on her to like give her back her masculine features for the first 30 minutes, to show, her going through the transition and everything. It's first of all, it's drugs and murder and cartel and all this kind of stuff, right? Like it's a gritty, scary criminal organization, right? When she has her transition, she becomes like this.
Is this the actress Carla Sofia Gascon?
I believe so. Yes, Carla
plays Amelia.
Yes. Yeah, Amelia.
Okay.
Now, after the transition, she becomes a fighter for peace, where she starts an organization, like a nonprofit, where they go and she sends the lawyer to the jails to talk to all of these underground lowlife, people who have committed murders and been put away, and asks them like where they buried the bodies. So she is on this mission to find all of the people who have disappeared in Mexico, because over the past 40 years or however long, tens of thousands of people have gone missing in Mexico, and because it was a dangerous place to be at certain times. And so she becomes this like heroine, where she's working and like saving and finding families that have been like murdered on the side. what has happened? There's so much to it. I have to watch it like 7 more times.
All right, well, don't give away everything.
No, that is not in any way everything. That is like, like nuggets.
I am honestly feeling confused at this point.
Yeah. So anyway, in wrapping up,
I would say it's definitely like a multi-stream. You can't buy it; it's Netflix. But if it won a Golden Globe, it may win Oscars. It might have some, and occasionally Netflix will actually produce physical media for big award winners. But I don't know if they're still doing that because Coda was 2019 and that won the
so that was Apple. So,
but I would buy it if and this is not my normal fare. Okay. I don't normally do drama. Right. This was really interesting.
So we're gonna go from that to this, our little secret.
Yeah.
We're going to Netflix Hallmark land now. Yeah. Lacey, you have to have your mind in a very strange place because you went from that to Lindsay Lohan.
I needed a I know this is gonna sound terrible, but I needed a formulaic palette cleanser because I was so confused. I mean, don't get me wrong, it winds everything out, it's fine. But so I needed something that was like, I know this is gonna be, girl goes back home, sees the whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's really fun. It's like a nice
Netflixy films are great.
Right.
Excuse me, I should say, sorry, Hallmarky films, as I call them, are great palette cleansers. So yeah, continue.
Exactly. Sorry. This had some similarities to the Brooke Shields one where the couple.
And just to clarify, this is Our Little Secret, released November 27th, Netflix, starring Lindsay Lohan.
Right. Yep. And Kristen Chenoweth. It's got a fun cast. Ian Harding. So you remember the one we talked about a few months ago with the Brooke Shields and Benjamin Bratt, where their kids end up getting they're engaged.
Mother of the Bride.
Yeah, Mother of the Bride. This had that kind of feel where it's two exes who end up at Christmas together because each of them are dating. They're dating a brother and a sister, and they don't realize it until they get there, and they can't leave.
Right. They don't want to make things, because I've seen this film.
Yes, they don't want to make things
awkward with everyone, saying that we actually know each other and have relationships. So yeah.
But at the same time, there's some, there's some weird stuff. The only thing that I kind of didn't dig was the little brother who was just an awful human being.
Yeah.
So I think, but don't get me wrong, the actor did phenomenally well in that character because I really hate him. Like I really despise that character. So the actor did a great job. It's just that I think that character was written maybe a little bit too aggressively evil for a cute little, Hallmark Christmassy type movie.
The evil little brother's always been a trope of a lot of 80s comedy series or comedy movies too. So yeah. But no, I got you. Yeah.
Really evil. Like he was like blackmailing people and like extorting. He was. Yeah.
I thought Kristen Chenoweth was the standout in this. She was the stern kind of mother that didn't approve of anyone. And yeah.
And what's the guy's name? Tim, the guy who played undercover brother.
Meadows.
Meadows, yes. Oh my goodness. So I love him in all of his things, and I hadn't seen him in a minute. And he's got a great character in this. And
he was the ladies' man, not undercover brother. He's the ladies' man.
Wait, who was
undercover brother? Was the other guy?
No, not the. No, I was thinking Saturday Night live action or full length feature. So the ladies, yes. But he played the straight man in this. Yeah. So he wasn't the comic relief, which is nice to see because he's got some other chops as well. So yeah, I mean, it was cute. It's probably a stream it, maybe not a buy it.
What I did like though is, okay, so this was Lindsay Lohan's at least final film of her contract that she had with Netflix to do this kind of Netflixy style trilogy of rom-com videos for movies for Netflix. I hope she comes back to it because I felt that she really has kind of found a niche in these style films. She did the Christmas one where I forget what the Christmas one was, and then she did the Irish Wish one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those I enjoyed probably more than this one, but I still found this one enjoyable.
Agreed.
Stream it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stream it for you.
Mhm.
Well, Kevin, I just got to say this. I have mad respect for you because you've been hanging out in a den of thieves, man. You
I'm
went
sorry, I
and saw
didn't hear
Den
you,
of-
Kyle. What would you say?
I said I have mad respect for you because you have been hanging out in a den of thieves.
Yes.
You went and saw Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. The description for this, real quick, is Big Nick is back on the hunt in Europe and closing in on Donnie, who is embroiled in the treacherous world of diamond thieves and infamous Panther Mafia as they plot a massive heist of the world's largest diamond exchange. Now, the original Den of Thieves has become a cult classic, Kevin. Does Gerard Butler recapture the magic?
Well, what's funny is when I saw the original film in the theater, it was a 2018, if I remember correctly. I actually didn't like it. Part of the reason was I didn't like Gerard's character at the time. But on rewatches and people kind of talking about it, like, okay, and I came across it on streaming somewhere, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of layers to this. And then I ended up like understanding and actually then liking his character of Big Nick in this one as well. And it was a really good. The first one, of course, was a really good heist film. Very, of course, like Heat. There's a lot of similarities to Heat too, or Heat as well, I should say. Which is one of the things I liked about it. Of course, and it was filmed in Atlanta, supposed to take place in L.A. And I recognized the big shootout scene at the end of where that was and what road that was. I'm like, I know that road very well. That's Atlanta. But I ended up coming to really like this film. And I was excited to hear the sequel is going to be the same director. He wrote this one as well. And what I liked about this film was that if you know O'Shea Jackson, he is the one that survives the first film from the crew that does the heist. You find out that he was the one of the lead masterminds behind it without letting people know he was the lead mastermind, which made him the mastermind. And he escapes with a crap load of money. And if you know what Den of Thieves does in the first film, they were able to steal a bunch of money that was supposed to be destroyed. Everyone thought that it was destroyed. And so there's all this extra old money that was hanging around that he got to keep. And he escapes to Europe. And what's really cool is at the end of Den of Thieves, there's a mention of the diamond exchange at the end of that film when he's in London. And they follow that up with this film, which I thought was really cool. It tied in, and you learn from Big Nick, Gerard Butler's character, that he's kind of like the end of his rope. Is obviously he's now divorced, and he's wants to head to. I'm getting some feedback here. I don't know what that is. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, he follows. He gets a line in on Donnie and finding out what he's going to do, and he wants to join him. And I'm not going to spoil everything, but I will say this, that the shooting locations were phenomenal. I love a good heist film. And they went to France, they went to Nice, they did, I think, some Italy as well, London as well. And it was shot really, really well. Some really great, intense scenes. And a heist scene is good too. There's a great chase scene as well. And there's a couple little twists and turns here. The crew that that they use in this is, of course, a European crew. And it was done really, really well, especially. And now, if people say it was better, worse, whatever, it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still very enjoyable and good to see on the big screen, and a very good companion piece to this, especially since it kind of ties in a lot to the first one. And to me, it's a good double feature, and for me, it is a buy it.
Good to know. Yeah, I'm with you, Kevin. The first Den of Thieves took a little bit to grow on me, but it was kind of one of those ones that I kind of watched it again after hearing so many people rave about it and so many people watch it again. You get a different perspective on it, and that was definitely the case. It was much better for me after it.
It's a very smart heist film, especially on how they approached the place that they pulled the money out of. It was done really, really well.
Good to know. And for that is going to wrap up this edition of Buy It, Stream It, or Unsee It. And we had time, which means it's time to wrap up this edition of Culture Clash here on the Fandom Podcast Network. You've been joining us as we've discussed Star Wars Skeleton Crew, Episode 7. We're going to be in so much trouble, and so many other things that have been happening in fandom in the last week. And of course, just a reminder, once again, if you want more Skeleton Crew coverage, definitely check out What a Piece of Junk, our Star Wars dedicated show here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Of course, you can find that on the YouTube channel or on our podcast feed. Again, Culture Clash. We continue our Skeleton Crew coverage next week with our spoiler reaction show to the finale of, was it the first season or just break finale of Skeleton Crew? That we don't know yet, but it is going to be the final episode. Once again, the creator of the series, John Watts, will be back to direct episode 8. And in the meantime, this has been a presentation of the Fandom Podcast Network, Culture Clash being the flagship show of the Fandom Podcast Network. You can find us in a lot of places, whether it's Facebook. Just look for the Fandom Podcast Network. We're on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on so many different social media
Instagram,
Threads, and just a lot of places you can find the Fandom Podcast Network. You can find me, Kyle, myself on Facebook, Kyle Wagner. You can find me on Twitter at @KyleW. You can find me on Discord at @KyleW. You can also find me on Threads and Instagram at @KyleFandom. Kevin, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on X, Instagram, Threads, Discord, and Letterboxd at Spartan_Phoenix, and on Blue Sky at Spartan Phoenix.
Yeah. You can find me on Blue Sky also at @KyleW. Lacey, where can people find you on social media?
I am Lacy Pants in all the places except for Instagram, where I am the Lacy Pants. I have kind of gone away from X just because there's so much. But other than that, Blue Sky and Threads and Discord and all the places, Letterboxd, all the spots.
Of course, too, visit TeePublic. We have a great store on TeePublic with all the gear of the Fandom Podcast Network, representing all the shows on the network, whether you need a t-shirt, hoodie. It's a little bit colder in Atlanta these days. You need a coffee mug, hat, tapestry, whatever. It's all there on our TeePublic store. Go to teepublic.com, search for the Fandom Podcast Network or any of your show titles of the Fandom Podcast Network, and you will find the gear for the Fandom Podcast Network. We get a little kickback to help try to keep the lights on and the dilithium crystals around here charged. This is Culture Clash on the Fandom Podcast Network. Real quick, these guys don't know I'm about to do this. One of the great things about fandom is the people you meet and the friends and loved ones you make with fandom. I have been going through a personal difficult time, and the two people that you see on this YouTube screen or have heard in this podcast have been there for me through some really tough times in the last few months. And
Love you, brother.
if I didn't tell them I loved them, and I know that sometimes it makes them feel a little bit uncomfortable, but if it wasn't for fandom and for these things that we talk about, I would not have these people in my life. And they are so important to me. They're more than just friends. They are my family and people I love. Just like all of you listeners to me are all family. All the people who are here at home on the Fandom Podcast.
We have a Fandom Podcast Network family. We love it.
Yes, and
love you, man.
And to all of our friends who are out in California, please stay safe. We know it's been rough, but stay safe. We appreciate your check-ins. We're always here for you guys. Hopefully we can give you a little break in your day and just give you a fun couple of hours. And for you in Atlanta, just stay off the roads. You know better. You know better. But
for the love of everything, please just stop driving until like Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you can, just stay home.
Yeah.
But again, props to these two here because they're the ones who make the show work. They're the ones who are just doing everything here. And I love them for it. And I love all you listeners out there as well. Until next week, we will be bringing you the finale of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Just remember, as we believe here, respect each other, and most importantly, no matter what it is, enjoy your fandom. We have done this thing, and we are out of here.